All right, thank you for those that either see this while it airs or while it's live or while it's, I guess, posted afterward. I haven't done one of the news sections, streams rather, in a quite a while, and that's because I've tried to appeal in other ways to the YouTube demographic. They have a very large spectrum of things they're interested in, um, and hey, we'll just keep trying to see what works. I mean, so to O'Donoghue, everyone's favorite infrequent user as far as the streams are concerned. It's a common theme with him. I probably will have a upload coming on maybe Saturday or Sunday, possibly Monday, but no later than that, where it's kind of relationship based because I realized a while ago I don't really, and I've you like to sometimes reflect on yourself and your stuff and whatnot. Yeah, the very best, like no one ever was with Donahue, but I wanted to do it because I have to say, I've seen some really weird behavior in the last 2 years of being online that I used to hear about, but I never really came in contact with. To kind of just give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I had a person who literally blocked me on this other website for saying hi to them. I'm not kidding in saying that, and it's one of those things where that by itself isn't enough to get you kind of worked up, but then when you kind of think about the finer details, if you will, it becomes a bit of a boiling point, where the person themselves isn't a big deal, but the people that surround them are a more central problem. It's like the prelude to a greater conflict, because I sometimes when I do those uploads, people like think, oh my God, this was a significant person. Like, no. The person themselves is a symptom of the problem being used as an example to diagnose and to say, hey, this is a pattern of behavior that I don't get and I don't understand. I don't really like to surround myself with. So, we'll see what happens, when it's uploaded. But I just wanted to give you that forewarning before we head into these news stories. And right off the bat, I'm trying to dodge this immigration one because every time I talk about that, people like to pull out their pitchforks and knives and whatnot. Let's see here. The U.S. economy added 263,000 jobs in April. The Labor Department reported Friday, blowing past expectations. The unemployment rate also dropped 0.2 percentage points to 3.6%, the lowest jobless rate since 1969, driven in part by a 0.2 point decline in the labor force participation rate to 62.8%. Economists expect the economy to add roughly 190,000 jobs. What am I? I think I'm getting this wrong. I'm so sorry. My numbers are off today. 190,000 jobs in April after the economy added an average of 180,000 jobs per month, and gross domestic product rose at an annual rate of 3.2% in the first quarter of 2019. So this is another one of those stories that on the surface sounds really great and we should all be smiling and everything's so wonderful and terrific. And then when you get into the nooks and crannies, that's when it gets a little bit more murkier. So let's clarify. It is not bad that more people are employed. It is bad when you start to ask, what are the wages? What are the benefits to these positions? Basically, just what the jobs themselves actually entail. And that was kind of the point, that a lot of the jobs that people like to brag about as some success rate are, they're stuff that people only take because they can't get anything better. And, unfortunately, thanks to the corporate overlords, they'll take information like this and they'll spin and go, oh, see, everything's sunshine and rainbows in the U.S. No problems, no economic disparity. Or if it is, because you're lazy and whatnot. So I think keep having fun with that narrative. The most boring presidential candidate on planet Earth, Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, on Friday unveiled a $100 billion plan that would improve access to mental health care in America and increase resources nationwide for battling substance abuse. The Associated Press reported Friday that the plan would increase funding for early intervention mental health organizations while also improving access to opioid addiction treatment centers. It also would provide for the hiring of healthcare workers to serve areas facing little or no hospital coverage. I think she's taken a page out of Warren's book, the senator from Massachusetts. Everybody knows who that is, because she's multiple times this early in the campaign put out these detailed plans of how she was going to for example, rebuild the economy of Puerto Rico and deal with education. Just she's someone that I think out of all these people has definitely done the most as it relates to their campaign outside of speaking. Like I've complained with a lot of these candidates that they just sit around and talk and say things aren't really going into what they mean. And Warren, for all for my problems I've had with her, has done the complete opposite of that. I have to give her credit. This I just wish more people would do that. Like if you're running for the highest office, give me a plan that says this is how we want to do this. I've seen O'Rourke put out one of those. Cloud Boot Jar put out one. It's like, why is that not a more frequent thing? I don't understand. Oh, I do understand because they want to make empty promises without any specifics. Then when they get in office, they can screw you over. And now I remember it's all flashing back to me. So it all came back. Let's look at this wonderful poll right here that everybody's so happy about. Joe Biden holds a 30-point lead over Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, in the Democratic presidential field, according to a Harvard Cap/Harris poll survey released exclusively to The Hill, further signaling that former vice president cementing his place as the primary contest frontrunner. 44% of Democratic voters surveyed said they are most likely to vote for Biden in the 2020 Democratic primaries. Sanders comes in second place at 14%, while Senator Kamala Harris takes third place with just 9%. I don't know why she doesn't just drop out or whatever. Hey, if she wants to lose California, her home state, and be embarrassed, it's perfectly fine. I look forward to it. No, but these polls, as I mentioned before, I like to kind of not do what I see a lot of people do, which is if there's one that doesn't cater to their ideology, they don't like to believe it, they say it's fake news. In this case, I think it's name recognition. I don't doubt that they surveyed a bunch, people, but you have to factor in what the actual numbers are. Okay, Ruben says, sorry, I forgot to give you my schedule earlier. I work on. I'll tell you that. I'm so disgusted, Ruben. I can't believe you would forget. What a sick thing. This is so gross. I was trying to cater to your needs and desires as a serious backer of my content, and I was shunned. All right, where's another one of these stories? Ooh, here's a good one. David says, so a person is known for touching people inappropriate in the league. Okay, well, in the lead. Okay, well, I guess go Joe Biden. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, apparently, the best way to win a Democratic primary now is to put your fingers on people. I mean, in this story that we're going to do on during the weekend or on Monday, we had a person who literally thought I was going to molest them through the through the computer screen by saying hello. So it all makes sense that the stuff is warped and backwards. Okay, Winner says, what did I miss? I did about 2 stories so far. I mean, you can always rewatch the thing after it's done, just in case you want to see what you missed, and the question answers itself. Just saying. Anyways, more than 1,000 people have died in 2 provinces of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Oh, wait a minute. I'm so sorry. I'm reading that to Americans. We don't care about what happens in other countries. At least most of us, anyway. In the second worst outbreak of the Ebola virus recorded in modern times. That actually kind of sounds like a major thing. Maybe we should pay attention to that. Second biggest one in modern times. Man, this is kind of. It sounds almost significant. I appreciate the comment, David. The Congolese Health Ministry said Friday that 1,529 people have been infected in the outbreak, which is concentrated in 2 trading cities in North Kivu province. Of those, 1,008 people have died, a mortality rate of nearly 66%. Wow, so 6/10 of the people, 3/5 of those that were contracted with this died. Almost sounds like something that is serious and should be paid attention to by people online and in real life, but it makes too much sense. Okay, Ruben says, undemocratic Republic of the Congo. Yeah, we already know about the screwed up governments in these foreign countries. I was thinking of doing the Saturday stream on Cuba, where I would just kind of like learn it as I went along, and I thought it would be like a really interesting thing just to kind of stick yourself with this one particular country and just how they came up and the different eras and whatnot. Let's see. Everyone's favorite not Republican Former Representative Beto O'Rourke leads President Trump by 10 points in a hypothetical general election matchup, according to a new CNN/SSRS poll. The survey released Thursday shows O'Rourke with support from 52% of registered voters, compared with Trump's 42%. 2% of voters said they wouldn't support either candidate. I'm one of the 2%, by the way. 4% said they had no opinion. O'Rourke had the widest lead over Trump among other Democratic presidential candidates who were included in the potential matchups. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, and former Vice President Joe Biden, Democrat of Delaware, tied for second place behind O'Rourke, with each leading Trump by 6 points. Let's see. Ruben says that sounds like a great idea. What sounds like a great idea? Now, I was saying that and then Harris has a 4-point lead, and everybody's favorite neo-lib mayor, Booty Judge, has a 3-point lead, and then Warren has a 1-point lead. The problem with these polls is that even if, let's say we do get the election, right, and O'Rourke's the nominee, which I hope that we don't. Thank you, Ruben. I appreciate that. But let's pretend that O'Rourke was the nominee. Do you really believe the majority of people who vote for him are voting for him for any other reason than just to be anti-Trump? Like, it's my point. It's going to be Hillary 2.0, and they're really slick because they always try to go back to that Texas Senate race. But the more I think about it, I said, well, was he really that great of a candidate, or was Cruz just really, really terrible and just wanted to see him just be out of office pronto? And the more I lean toward the latter, the more I realize that the appeal, in quotation marks, of course, I'm not going to do the little hand motion, you know what that is more generated from just get rid of Orange Man versus let's actually have someone appealing on our own. See, Jay says, hi, just here to listen. I've never seen you before. I hope you're here to stay. If you show up for more than one stream, Christmas will come twice this year. Because we have a thing about like low turnovers. So, like, oh yeah, I'll show up next week and then disappear. Let's see, Nadler. Oh, more of that impeachment stuff. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler. I don't know why they just call him Jerry Nadler. Democrat of New York on Friday sent a letter to the Department of Justice indicating he is willing to move forward holding Attorney General William Barr in contempt of Congress if the committee does not receive subpoenaed information on Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report. That's another one of those Democrats that is only known for just like being part of the impeachment anti-Trump crew. Like they're not known for having any actual issues that they've championed or trying to do anything with. Just all it is I don't like Trump, you don't like Trump, now I'm your favorite person. Is already bad. Wait, yeah, yes, but Trump has already had one team, so it's likely he will have had one term, so it's likely he'll have a second term. I'm sorry, the screen is a little further away, so I have to look. I have to stick my face all in the camera, and then that one guy that came in here with the little sexual references can pause it and whack off. It's funny how like if you write that to a woman, they get disturbed, and then with me, it's like whatever. People write weird stuff online. It happens. That's how they roll. That's their modus operandi. Senator Mazie Hirono, Democrat of Hawaii, on Friday said that the White House is a moral dead zone just days after her rebuke of Attorney General William Barr in the Senate hearing. I've characterized what goes on at the White House as a moral dead zone, she said during an interview with MSNBC. You enter that dead zone and you end up with an Attorney General who can't even tell me that telling the White House counsel a lie is not okay, she added. He can't answer that. So this is another one of those people who is going off of the anti-Trump stuff. And, it's funny because they always talk about the Democrats having this whole thing about, trying to show themselves as virtue signaling. That's exactly what that is. When we had people before, they weren't morally bankrupt. U.S. leadership wasn't morally bankrupt when we bombed 7 countries for money. The U.S. government wasn't morally bankrupt when we had the working class pay for the bank bailout while the rich stuffed their pockets. It's only in the last 2 years that everything's been so terrible. All the revisionist history in the world. Okay, Ruben says, who's the other person who's running for president as a Democrat candidate besides the other person. There's like 21 or 22 of them. Hell, that one from Colorado who's only known for giving that speech screaming at Cruz, which was funny, by the way. Bennett got in, I think it was, what, yesterday? Yeah, I actually was really surprised because I figured he would have some level of brains in his head and say, look, there's, over a dozen people. I'm not polling at even 1%. There's no chance for me. But he saw what happened with Booty Judge. It's like, okay, well, I've got it shot. I mean, people's egos are just so large, and they get them to like think all kind of things. Let's see. I lost track. There are so many nobodies running as a Democrat. Yeah, this is and I'm surprised the media hasn't talked about this. This is the biggest field ever of any of these primaries, and it was really funny because the previous biggest field was a Republican primary from last time around with 16 people or 17, whatever. It's one of those two numbers. And the one before that was the biggest, was the 1976 Democratic primary, which had about, I think, 15 or 16 people. It's really amusing because they're like, what that should tell you is over the course of years, people have, especially in the last couple of years, they've tried to build themselves on this idea that because Trump won, anybody can run. And so now, like, all of them are just taking a shot. Like, remember all the people who aren't running, like the governor from Virginia, McAuliffe, or whatever his name was, who got elected because the Libertarians split the Republican vote. That governor from Massachusetts who got, caught up in that scandal. There's a lot of people that just like aren't even running, and you would think, okay, well, the field's gonna be smaller, and then there's like 3 people for every 1 person that's not running that was thought of. I'm not going to be able to get an award. I haven't. How it is. We don't really like to reward people for actually being able to know certain things about stuff. It's only if you're a woman, if you can shove your behind up in front of a camera on some porn site. So that's pretty much the only way you can do it. Let's see. Winter says, I think Oprah is running, if I'm not mistaken. Not to my knowledge. She has announced the campaign. I could have sworn she ruled it out. That'll be one of the biggest backtracks ever. So I haven't seen it. Maybe Winter's messing with me. That's his way of getting his Friday jollies. See if we can find anything else in here. I do hate the mobile version of The Hill because when you go on the computer, you can put all the news stories like from newest to reverse chronological order, and you can just sift through them. And whereas if I'm on the mobile, I have to go to the technology tab, the policy tab, the whatever the hell tab. Just that's obnoxious. But hey, they choose to run their website like that, so it apparently isn't too obnoxious. Like keep coming back. Federal court strikes down. A panel of federal judges on Friday ruled Ohio legislators violate the Constitution in drawing congressional district lines that unfairly hindered Democratic chances of winning seats. So gerrymandering, which we've all known for years, for many, many years, for literal decades. It's like now they're doing something that's unfair. A little too little, too late, basically. Nice try though. God, it's like these. Swear there's so much stuff with the news where it's all based off of really old things that get kind of ignored and then they get brought to the forefront out of nowhere, or just like one day they're suddenly a big deal. Okay, the Trump administration is searching for ways to provide. I posted this on Instagram. I was like, in reference to the Venezuela thing, you know that whoa, here she comes, like cool, here she comes. The Trump administration is searching for ways to provide further funding to the opposition government in Venezuela led by Juan Guaido as he attempts to oust the country's president, Nicolas Maduro. CNN reported Thursday that the White House is looking to provide Guaido's opposition with either funds previously frozen in U.S. accounts. Why can't we have that money? Like, no, literally, screw the coup. Why can't we have that money? Frozen in U.S. accounts. Why are the... But again, that America First thing, people still believe is real. So Oh, you can have the hypocrisy, or even a short-term loans. I apologize for the verbal diarrhea there. As U.S. officials tell the news network that Maduro's hold over the country continues to weaken. One GOP aide on Capitol Hill told CNN that the Trump administration was hoping to assist the opposition government with basic administrative tasks such as paying soldiers. I'll read your comment in a moment, David. They are trying to figure out how do you help the interim government be able to provide paychecks, that kind of stuff, so that there is an ability to say, hey, we are a functioning government, a senior GOP aide told CNN. That would include payments to various people, including those in the military. Speaking at a rally Thursday, Maduro told supporters that he would begin detaining members of the opposition forces, as Guaido had begun recruiting members of the military to his side with limited success. Well, of course, they don't want to participate in the coup against their like. Wow, I'm so shocked that the people who actually care about this country don't want to participate in a coup led by another country. I can't believe it. The order has been given: detain traitors, reject and detain coup participants, said Maduro, according to CNN. That is why I say we have to stop treason, stop coup attempts in their tracks, face it head on. Again, people like to pretend as if we love him over here, but all of it's about just the idea of the U.S. deciding who your leader is, and you're not living in the U.S. is stupid. People don't get that, so it's all good. Oh, okay. David says, "Why have?" Thomas Jefferson said, "Whenever people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government." Yeah, Marco says because the politician would just pocket that money instead of doing something with it. Pretty much, that's how they roll. I mean, he just said we have frozen dollars, and then he keep hearing about this deficit. Jesus Christ. I had this little hiccup, and I got that's why I was like this. I notice when I do streams, those tend to come out because I'm just kind of speaking for I guess prolonged amount of time, or just not, in the form of video you can edit and cut stuff out and whatnot. Okay, the White House on Friday hit back at Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat of California, or as I like to call her, Nasty Baloney, for accusing Attorney General William Barr of committing a crime by lying to lawmakers in sworn testimony. Let me try to see if I can do the voice. Oh, wait, that's not her that they're quoting. This is the Deputy Press Secretary, Stephen Groves. He said the fact that the speaker would take it upon herself to call him a liar is really, really inappropriate and beneath her office. So, does no one kind of see the hypocrisy? Like I thought the whole point of the Trump era was that now people can basically say whatever they want with no filter, because he was able to say stuff about the Gold Star family, obviously McCain, just different people throughout the course of his couple of years in politics. And I think to myself, if he as the president and even before that as the presidential candidate / nominee was able to say all kind of things about various people, why the hell can't the Speaker of the House? Am I missing something here? Like I said, I don't care if Trump swears. I don't care if he just rhetoric does not matter to me to practically any extent for the most part. But the flip side of that coin is that it shouldn't matter when the Democrats or whatever a team you don't like says something, that is also of the same kind of veneer, if you catch my drift. But hey, that's how they roll, so it's all good. All the hypocrisy is lovely and beautiful. I really feel at home with how, the double standards and whatnot. It actually, that's why I said that politics parallels the relationship stuff, because like we talk about how, there are things women can do, and it seems like there's nothing men can do that, is like exclusive to them, other than get accused of false allegations and thrown in jail with no proof and be, have their career and public image destroyed and whatnot. It's the same thing where one side gets all this power. In this case, Trump can say whatever he wants, but then if the other side says something that they don't like, his subordinates go, "Oh my God, what a disgusting thing! How could you possibly utter something of such a way?" It's like, no, let him say what he wants, and let the other side say what they want. That's the only fair trade. Either way, you're just proving yourself to be a hypocrite. So they can have fun with that. I know that most of his supporters already don't like Pelosi, and again, I'm not a fan of her either. But to suggest one side can say it, the other side can't, I don't quite understand. But it's already I live in the twilight zone anyway, so people do all kinds of things that just completely. I mean, when you see that video, you'll get what I'm talking about. Because I tried to wrap my mind around. I said, does it really make sense for someone to do this? For someone to just kind of, like actually get that mad because a person said hello to them? And you're going to see the messages in there, so it's not going to be a thing where I describe and you take my word for it. Just another character study, and I'm glad we're doing it because I don't think I've addressed the platonic part of interactions, like just how people interact with each other without there being any kind of romantic entanglement or one person wanting to screw the other one. Just it all goes back to how terrible we treat each other, and you know what, it's one of those things where hey, it just gives me more reason for what I do. Like I'm gonna mention this in the video. It's like a thing where I realized, based off of my interactions, especially on these websites on YouTube, where it's like I say hi and then the person reacts in some manner that I just like don't get, but usually just might not say anything and not actually block someone over that. I realize I'm apparently more sociable than they are at this point, which is really, really ironic because I've been accused for so long of being the opposite of that. So it's crazy. Let me see if I can find one more story to wrap this up. Because I know the chat's getting bored. Everybody in their fell asleep and is resting and whatnot. That Fed chair resigned yesterday, by the way. The conservative commentator. I actually did a stream with one of his. I can't speak. One of his scenes on Fox about a week and a half ago, where he was talking about the economy and whatnot, and how brilliant the advice he gave Trump was, and all this mumbo jumbo. But it was really amusing because he actually he seemed like he was going to stay in that race, and then Republican after Republican said, "Hey, no," and that was that. And it's just it's amusing to think of him and Kane and know that they both tried to present this front of I will not give up, I will be on the Federal Reserve, and then it just crashed in a rather spectacular way, because it's always most amusing when you see the people who say they won't give up or quit, and then like right after, like, all right, screw this. Supposedly, Thomas Jefferson said, if a nation expects to be both ignorant and free, it expects that news was and never will be. What do you think of that? Oh, it expects what never was and never will be. Yeah, well, that's my point. That there's all these stories that the main media doesn't talk about with any amount of time at all. And then that's why I like to do this, because it's stuff I think is important in a lot of cases or isn't getting talked about that much, mixed in with some stuff like the bar crap that people are speaking about all day long, and I get to give my opinion in a more condensed manner that doesn't like on the news networks, they just talk about two stories all day. Here I try to give you a little bit of diversity and some different tales, some variety, some stuff happening overseas, some stuff happening here. I guarantee you go on any of these networks, except other than Fox with Tucker, and I don't even like his thing, but he's at least giving some of the foreign stuff some coverage. But you go over to any of these different networks, and they've literally sat back and just completely ignored these tales. Most people, I guarantee you, couldn't name the countries we're bombing, because it's not told to them in any manner. They have to go look for it and dig, which really is a damn shame. But that's how screwed up the American media has become. And thank you, and have a good day.